comes from the bee products itself, straight from the hive. And I received the jelly itself. It's funny because somebody the other day wants it from me, and I use so little, and it's very pricey. But you get it at your health foods store, and it comes from the queen bee, and it's a jelly, and it has this weird stuff on top. It just it looks like caviar in a way, little black droplets. It's very strong. It's not that sweet. It's hard to digest. I don't mean literally to digest. It's not that tasty, but it's full of antioxidants, and it's extremely healthful, according to the health food store gurus. One suggested to start putting it in your smoothies and cereal, kind of camouflage its taste, because again, it really isn't that tasty. But this can up your libido. Again, anecdotal. I'm sure there are no groundbreaking scientific studies on that one.
It sounds like the bee version of royal maca.
Right.
You know?
Also, I'm saying that some people believe that it can stave off symptoms of PMS, the cravings, the crankies, and the cramps. It also can it is believed to lessen female and male menopausal woes, such as fatigue and impotence. According to one health food store honey guru, we call her the bee girl. So she really believes in it, and actually they are the people that sent it to me. And maybe I should try that. I'm just thinking, when I work really hard, and I am a worker bee, libido is the last thing on my mind. I've always been like that. Back in graduate school, in my 30s, I did have a libido for sure. I'm a healthy woman, but when I get really focused, it's just, I just put that on the back burner.
Now, we want to talk a little bit about the difficult part of what's happening to the honeybee population since it's declining. I want to talk a little bit about the fact that the value of bees, you say, to U.S. crops runs into billions of dollars, much more than the value of the honey produced by the honeybees.
Correct. A lot of people, I didn't even know. I really didn't even know until I started my research, and I include a whole chapter on the vanishing honeybee. During the research, I watched a documentary on it, and it brought me to tears. I mean, real tears, because it focused on 3 beekeepers and their colonies, and all 3 of them, their colonies were affected. Colonies, that means 50 to 60,000 honeybees in one colony, okay? And a lot of these people, that's their livelihood. That's how they survive. They make their money selling the honeybee product, the honey itself, and the products like beeswax, candles. Honey is used for beauty products, lip balm, soaps, lotions, but also a lot of the beekeepers transport their honeybees for pollination reasons. So this is their livelihood, their job. And what I learned in that documentary and my research, that a lot of these honeybees are just vanishing, a mysterious die-off, and they call that colony collapse disorder. And I talked to PhDs at UC Davis, to Penn State researchers. I talked to the guys, with high up there that know what they're talking about, and they admit to me nobody knows why these bees are vanishing.
Can I tell you why I think they're vanishing?
Sure. Go ahead.
I think it's a combination of the genetically modified foods and the chemtrails in combination. Right.
And a lot of people, the chemtrails, I noticed, I'm not sure if I even mentioned the word. Did I mention the word chemtrails in the book? I might have left that out, and I might have left out the electromagnetic.
Yes, indeed, and that too. It's a 3-pronged problem.
Right. But I did, when I talked to the scientist, the theories that are definitely out there in the forefront they include climate change, diet, mites, pesticides definitely, and viruses. Also the stress of traveling for pollination of crops and the usage of cell phones, believe it or not, perhaps due to the
towers
radiation.
too.
are in the mixed bag of possibilities why the bees are vanishing and leaving their beekeepers out of work and shocked by losing half or more of their prized colonies to an unknown cause. But the bottom line is, I did talk to a lot of beekeepers too, nobody knows for sure. Nobody knows. And so you're wondering, well, who cares? So we don't have honey, I can live. But
no, it's not about that. It's about that it's infused into the entire food supply creation.
Think again. How will the die-off of the honeybee affect you in the food chain? Well, get this. Millions of acres of U.S. fruits, vegetables, oilseed, they rely on insect pollination, and that includes the sacred honeybees. And so this little bee, it pollinates. It pollinates our crops, our home gardens, our wildlife habitat. And don't forget, if you're thinking, okay, you don't like fruits and vegetables that much, you'll just eat your meat and potatoes. Well, you may not be eating that steak or hamburger because it moves up the chain. It could affect the beef and the dairy products because the cows, they eat the alfalfa and the clover. And remember, I mentioned the alfalfa honey is what I got in Reno. Well, when I drive to Reno, I see all the cows, in the pastures, and so it'll affect their food. And so it's going to move up the food chain if this continues. Now, this colony collapse disorder it was discovered back in 2006. Some people believe that it's actually been going on for 50 years, but 2006 is the year that you'll see if you Google it. And worse, if this continues to be a massive problem worldwide, it could affect our food chain, and it would decline the diversity and the quality and quantity of our food for us and our pets as well. And so, in the book I mentioned, I started getting images of the doomsday films like Soylent Green, where, foods are just very scarce, our favorite and healthful foods. And I don't know if anybody ever saw the movie. I've watched it several times, The Road. It's really a doomsday movie about, food is it's just scarce. It's just totally scarce. It's not like it is today where you can go into your grocery store and buy anything you want, even though the prices are skyrocketing. And that's another thing. Honey prices, they are getting higher because as some of the beekeepers are losing their colonies, it's supply and demand.
What is your take on the ability for what's happening to the bees to be turned around?
As we talk, the researchers who I spoke with are researching, or they're trying to figure out what's going on. I talked to California bee expert Dr. Eric Munson. I got an exclusive interview with him. Quote, he says, quote, "None of us know why the bees are not as vital as they used to be. In many cases, this may be due to limited access to good, varied supply of pollens. He hopes in our lifetime, scientists will discover what is killing the honeybees. But, he adds, even if we find the cause, will we be able to overcome it?" That's kind of spooky.
It's also a spooky response because, to me, it doesn't take rocket science to figure out that between massive amounts of microwave towers and cell phones, massive amounts of chemtrail spraying of barium and aluminum in the air that's affecting all animals and all life, between those two and weather changes and everything else, it's obvious that it's happening. It's obvious.
True. There's another movie, The Happening, where in the very beginning they have a professor talking about Albert Einstein. Now, it hasn't really been proven that Albert Einstein said this, but if the bee disappears off the surface of the globe, then man would only have 4 years left of life left. A lot of people attribute that quotation to Albert Einstein. I did not include it in the book because the Albert Einstein fans say that there is no proof that he said this, but I do believe that somebody with brains said something like this, and it could definitely be possible. So again, it's just a wake-up call that the honeybee is not just for honey and taking a teaspoon a day to fight fat. It's the picture is so much bigger than that. And so then you're probably thinking, well, what can you do to help the honeybee stay alive and be well? I got some ideas from the beekeepers and from